Hey everybody, it's finally getting to be soup season here in warm North Carolina, and so I wanted to make some soup. And I used to make a lot of chili, and because I had some ground beef in my freezer and some other vegetables and stuff on hand, that's what we're gonna make today. We're gonna make some chili and it's gonna be good. We're gonna begin by cooking our ground beef. I'm gonna bust it up in a stock pot. Turn the heat up to medium and let it brown up. Here comes the rest. Okay, now we'll get her going. Our pot is hot and we're gonna break up our burger and stir it around while it cooks. Smash it and crash it. And we're gonna keep going till it's fully browned. Our beef is nicely ground up, and ordinarily I would drain this, but this particular beef hasn't produced a lot of fat, and we still need a little fat to cook our vegetables in. So right now we're going to remove this meat from this pot into a bowl and set it aside. Our ground beef is removed, and now I have a diced bell pepper and a diced onion, and those are going in. Going to season them nicely with some salt and pepper. I didn't season the beef, so we have to make sure there's enough to cover both the meat and the vegetables. Some chili powder. Some oregano. Stir those until they're softened up. And then we're gonna sauce up our chili and finish it up. I've decided that I also want to add a little bit of crushed red pepper flake for a little additional heat, although we're using some chipotle and adobo, so I'm not going to add too much. Time now for a couple cloves of minced garlic. We're only going to cook that down for a minute or two till the garlic is fragrant, and then we're going to continue on. Okay, it is now time for some tomato paste. That ought to do. Some chipotle and adobo puree. I'm only going to use about a tablespoon because I don't like that hot. We're going to incorporate that into our vegetables. Smelling good. Now it's time for a little bit of regular tomato sauce. And I'm going to, because this is the end of this jar, I'm going to add some water to it. And we're going to add a imitation beef broth. I've added some water to our jar, and now I'm going to put the top on. We're going to shake it up and get all that tomatoiness out of this jar. I don't think we're going to use all of this, but let's see how much we will. Stir that up. And when I said imitation beef broth, I meant that I'm going to add some beef base, and this will make that tomato water brothy and beefy, because this is beef chili after all. And we'll stir that in until it's all melted up and incorporated into our liquid. I no longer see any evidence of our solid beef base. So now our beef is going to go back in. I'm going to bring this baby up to a boil and let it simmer for a few minutes. And then we're going to finish it off. Here's a close-up look at the beginning of our chili. And you wish you could smell it because it smells so good. So we're going to let this bring up to a boil. We have reached our boil, and I've turned the heat down to medium-low, and we're going to let this simmer for 15 minutes or so until the vegetables are nicely softened. And then we're going to finish it up. That was a quick and easy chili. I didn't think it was going to be so fast and easy. We are all nicely simmered up, and now in goes a can of tomatoes. I should have bought a finer dice, but I didn't, so this is going to be a chunky tomatoey chili. And we're going to cook these down for a while anyway. And then we have a can of rinsed and drained kidney beans, or you can use black beans or whatever kind of beans you want. And we're going to stir those in too. And now we're going to cook this down for another 10 to 15 minutes until everything's heated through and simmered down. And here's what our chili looks like now. And we'll be back when it's done. These tomatoes are a little too chunky for me. So I'm going to take some of the bigger pieces and bust them up before this gets too hot and boily. And like I say, if you like big chunks of tomatoes, then the chunky kind is good. But I don't so much. I'd rather have a smaller dice. I bought the wrong thing. So we're going to just bust them up, squish them up with our hands, and keep going till we're done. Our chili is all cooked up. Vegetables are softened. Tomatoes are broken up. It smells so good, and it's fairly thick, but I like my chili that way. If you like it thinner than this, then you can add some more of the broth to it. And now we're going to serve it up with some nice, tasty toppings. Our chili is in our bowl, and now come our toppings. First thing that's going on is a little dollop of sour cream. I like it right in the middle, and that'll melt in a little bit. Followed by a sprinkle of shredded cheddar. Looking yummy. And now a tiny little sprinkle of fresh cilantro. Just a little bit to give it a little green. And I like my chili served up with a little bit of cornbread. And here it is, chili and cornbread. It's gonna be yummy and a little hot, and let's take a bite. Thank you for joining me while I played with the ground beef in my freezer and made my first soup of the season with it. And now we're going in. I want to get a little bit of that sour cream. And here we are on our spoon, ready to go. Might be a little hot. That came out so tasty. And we'll see you again soon.